Broadcasting from Watts Creative Studios and live on Grove Street FM. You're listening to Talk Local to Me, brought to you by the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk Local to Me. I am Heather Alto with the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
And I'm Mike Norfield with Visiting Angels of Lynchburg, America's Choice in Home Care.
I almost cut you off. I thought you weren't going to say it at first. You were like, kind of like, you got into that little flow.
Every time.
I know. So I don't know about everybody else, but I'm counting down the days till vacation because it's like June hits and it's warm and it's sunny and I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I've got 9 days.
Yeah. Is that how much I have to? Wait, aren't we going the same week?
I'm going 13th.
I leave I leave the 14th technically, but I'm not really working on the 13th. I'm kind of prepping that day. So I count that as my vacation day too.
Does that count as like packing? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it kind of counts as my like day I'm throwing stuff in suitcases and No, I'm not really because I've actually started packing. I'm that person. I'm weird.
I haven't even started, so.
Oh no.
And I'll be gone for 2 weeks, so.
No, I'm only going for a week, but I'm already started because again.
I have a week of vacation and then a week of a conference that's work, but not really work. I like that deal.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I'm going to the beach, so, and I'm going to try to do really good. As you guys know, a lot of times I bring my computer with me and I'll be working from, my room, but I'm trying not to this year. I'm going to be really good. I'm going to not work.
Everybody
I'm actually go on vacation.
At cvabc.org.
That's right. Just message me that week, all week.
And the subject of your email should be, "This is an emergency."
No, I'm gonna remember to put my out of office on this time too.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, Well, hopefully everyone, if you listened into our show last week, we talked about, kind of like those mid-year goals. What are you doing middle of the year? How are your goals looking? Like, did you set something in January and you haven't quite hit it yet? Or, there's things that you still need to work on, or maybe you're doing wonderful and you've already surpassed what you thought you were going to be mid-year and you're, just moving forward. If you didn't listen to last week, go back and check it out because it's a really good episode. It
was a great episode.
I thought, I may be a little biased because it was my episode, but I thought it was really great. But, also, make time, like we were just talking about, take that vacation. Make sure you're taking time for yourself too, because I think so many of us don't do that. We get so worried about work and what other people are going to think about us, or are we going to lose our jobs, or are we going to not, is the whole office going to crumble down if we're not there? And so guess what? It won't. Hopefully you won't lose your job if you go on vacation, all those things. So take time for yourself, and make plans with your family, because if I can tell you anything in the last couple of months, man, for me, like family has been at the very tip top of my list. I've had a lot of issues going on with my parents. It's kept me out of the office more than I would like, and, back and forth trying to deal with that. But, I don't have much longer with my parents. I don't think either of them. So, I'm trying to make sure that I'm making the time that I can when I can.
Right.
So I'm just throwing out, that's my tip for the day. Way to start on a kind of a downer note, but hey, make time for your family. Right. You never know.
And take time for yourself too, because it's important, like when you go on vacation, to set that out of office reminder and actually take your vacation and enjoy it. So my goal this year on vacation is to actually read I've ordered a book and I'm going to read it this year, because I always have this whole thing of like feeling guilty, like I need to be doing something productive, or I'm just wasting my time. So this year, my goal is to read a book from beginning to end.
I usually bring like 5 books with me. I can promise you I will read every one of them while I'm down there.
Yeah,
I read a lot.
I'll make it a chapter 2, guaranteed. Yeah.
So one other thing I'll mention before we get to talking with our first guest is we do have some networking stuff coming up in June. Make sure you check our calendar. Everything will be going up on there by tomorrow for this month. Because of vacations and things, some of our stuff is a little bit wonky as far as our coffee talks. They all pretty much fall the same week this month, because I'll be out of town that third week. So we've pushed our Alta Vista coffee talk to the last week. And it kind of coincides with both Business After Hours and Appomattox's coffee talks and Lynchburg. So we're all
a busy week.
It's going to be a huge week for networking. So if you tell me you ain't got nothing to do the last week of June, you are not telling me the truth. You are fibbing, because there's a lot of things for you to be doing that week.
Well, we'll need those days for Woody, so
specifically. Yeah, Woody ain't coming and nothing. So I'm not even gonna lie, Woody. We saw the Media Squatch truck pull up at Coffee Talk last week, and we thought for sure thought it was you. We were so excited.
And y'all were pleasantly surprised that even better people got
we saw Jamie and Caitlin come in. We were like, oh, that's great to see you guys. But
we were so disappointed. We barely managed to eat 3 baked goods each.
Right. Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Yeah, it was a good picture on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, but yeah, check out our website. I'm not going to go through all the different dates and times right now because it's a lot. But, go to the cvabc.org, check out our events page, and make sure that you're coming out to those events. We've got a few ribbon cuttings coming up. So make sure you're checking all of that out and opportunities to network. Make sure you're still doing that through the summer. I think sometimes we get complacent during the summer because there's so much going on. And again, we talk about vacations and we talk about schools out and all the things. So business tends to die down. It's a slow period between June and August. And then kids go back to school and, it starts to get, and people are like, oh crap, I got to, actually work. And it's kind of hard to get back into that shift. So, still try to incorporate some of that stuff into your summer and not, just sit back and, get sunburnt and, eat bonbons. So, I mean, you can, I wouldn't mind, but yeah, anyway. So we have a couple of guests with us today, and we are going to start out. We're going to be talking with Mike and Tara with Kairos Counseling. How are you?
Doing well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you guys here. And I feel like, so we're kind of touched a little bit on not really mental health, but, talking about doing things for yourself and all of that. You guys can probably talk a little bit about how important that is too. But we're gonna chat a little bit about Kairos Counseling. I know y'all got some exciting things coming up. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Well, we've been in business for about 6 years now. We started with a small office in Windhurst in Lynchburg, and since then have grown to our office on the corner of Timberlake and Greenview, which is really a great location. And so a lot of people have seen us just there. And we have a location in Farmville to serve that community. And then we've recently gotten our Bedford office up and running. And so we just finished painting it yesterday, the front part of it. So
it was funny. It was probably maybe a month or so, I think, when I messaged you guys and was like, hey, because I live in Bedford. I'm just driving through town, la-di-da, and I see the sign right there on the building, this old bank building. And I was like, what? I was like, I know them. Okay, great. They're coming here. So I think that's really cool. I think it is also very needed in Bedford. I'm sure we maybe have some other counseling place. If we do, it's not popping into my head. They're definitely not members. So anyway, but I'm just saying it's definitely something I think is needed in this area. So it's really good to see you guys coming. And in such a prominent space too, right in the middle of town is awesome as well. So, so what makes Kairos Counseling different from other counseling places?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just our focus is on wellness of not only the clients, but our clinicians. That's kind of like what you guys were starting out talking today about, which is just taking that time to take care of yourself, leaving the laptop at home and things like that. Our counselors, we try to create a space for them that provides that balance, so they don't have to take their work home with them, so they can just leave the job, go home, and feel comfortable with just being with their family and not have to think about the things that they've gone through the day. As far as working with individuals, and a lot of the stories they share with them could be very emotionally draining. And while we kind of sit in a chair all day long, which isn't very physically active, mentally and emotionally, it's a real workout. So we create spaces for that. We encourage wellness. We do activities together. We've got our company picnic coming up real soon, and we'll have a box at the Hillcats game in a couple months. So
fun.
Yeah, so we do things like that and provide supervision. A lot of support for them to just be able to share in what's going on for them. And that transfers over to their work with the clients that come in.
I don't think I really have thought about how much you guys as counselors put on yourself listening to everybody else's stuff. I mean, people come in and just pour out all of their problems or issues and things. And you guys, you listen and you help and, compartmentalize it, I guess, in different areas. But I'm sure y'all hear some stuff, and I never really, I guess, thought about the mental health of the clinicians itself, listening to some of these things. So that's,
Yeah, it is a challenge for them because, one of the things myself included, if I looked at myself in this, the counseling world is a very small community, even in the state. And so, if I needed counseling for myself, I pretty much know almost every counselor in the area. So I can't get really counseling here. So it's the same with them. It's a real struggle to be able to have that wellness for self. And I recognize that, and that's a big part of why we have the place that we do, because
Mm-hmm.
it's something that we want to have a relation with people. It's just not a job to punch in and out and leave.
Mm-hmm.
It's a community. And so in that, a lot of times it's just knowing when somebody's going to have one of those harder clients and hear something that's going to be really, really a struggle for themselves, to just be able to see them after the session and just check in on them and say, how you doing? And, my office has a bunch of chairs in it and couches. And so a lot of times they just come in and hang out and eat a snack and just kind of, want to talk about, the day or football or, what's going on in their lives and stuff like that, just to kind of, decompress from that. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's cool.
So where did the name Kairos. I talked myself into the wrong name. Kairos Counseling come from?
Yeah, it's okay. The pronunciation is different depending on where you hear it from. And so is the name. For some, they come to me and they're like, "Oh, that name, that's Greek, right?" And it's like, "Yeah, that's Greek." And so they think, it's more of a, secular type of name, but it's also in the Bible as well. So, for those who have found it in the Bible, they'll say something about that. And so, it means something different to everybody as far as where they receive it from, but the definition is kind of still the same. Kairos means a moment in time of distinct interchange. And so, so that actually came to me when I was doing research for my dissertation. And the first tracing I had to that was with Aristotle, with him talking about it. And, so we know what, lineal time is, um, you know, uh, chronological,
Mhm.
right? So we know that's where chronos comes from. And then kairos is a moment in that time. So that's where that kind of goes. And it says a lot for people with what they go through. So,
Yeah. Well, sorry, I say water, so I can't.
Right.
I change stuff around.
I'm from
all
New
the time.
York originally, so sometimes the New York shows up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it shows out a little bit.
Yeah, it just comes back out.
I got you. So you guys talked about, you opening a Bedford office and things like that. And it says here that like you do ADHD testing and a therapy dog and things like that. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we're excited to kind of put out ADHD testing for that diagnosis specifically. There's a big need for that in our community.
Yeah.
And just hearing the needs of other people calling us and saying, "Hey, do you guys do this?" And we weren't. But knowing when we would refer out that the wait list is months out from those places.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only like a couple places that actually do that, one being like the hospital and,
Right.
the CSB. So we worked real hard to get trained in that. We've trained several clinicians to specifically do ADHD testing. And so we've got to the point where we're able to roll that out. We feel proficient in that to where we can successfully do that. So we're excited for that, not only to have that, but to have it financially affordable for people, because that's the other piece of that is it's very expensive to the thousands of dollars a lot of times. And so we're nowhere close to that. So, so we're excited about that. And we've got a therapy dog in training right now. So we're going to start rolling out some stuff with her. Her name's Kai. And they named
middle name's Rose.
So Kai Rose. And so
got it.
I got you.
Yeah, the girls at the office came up with that. So that was pretty hilarious. But she's super sweet. She's a lab, and she's a little over 6 months old now. But she's in training, so she's actually in our Lynchburg office, and she's a purebred AKC registered dog. It's there's a big difference between emotional support animals that we just wish were emotional support animals, or therapy dogs, and what is actually trained. So she actually has a formal training she goes through. She started training from the moment she was at birth, of just as a puppy. They've raised her to not jump on people, to sit, and things like that. And so she's really a well-behaved dog. And so she has her little vest that she comes to work. When she's in work, she knows she has her vest on. So she comes and sits, and she's almost at the point now where we can start putting her with some of the clients that will come in. And so we're excited about that.
So how does that work with a therapy dog? Like, how does, when a client comes in, does it help calm them down? Like, what does a therapy dog do for a client?
Yeah, that's a great question. The big difference with therapy dogs is their presence is there to be able to be a calming agent for the individual. So they may, for Kai, she's gonna just rest her. She doesn't sit on couches or anything like that. And so, but she'll be able to come up and she just puts her snout and her head on your lap, and that allows you to just kind of pet, and that helps people calm who have anxiety. Just being able to tact with the tactile of just touching her and feeling, her softness, her breathing, that brings people down with their emotions a lot of times, to be able to kind of get a bit of calm to them. And so, additionally, people just enjoy dogs, I think, a lot. So.
Yeah, and calm encourages calm. So when the dog's just there and you can just pet the dog, like it great things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you ever feel like people? I know sometimes, like when I was even when I was younger, and I'd be like mad at my parents or something. I feel like I would talk to my dog more. Like they would just lay there and like you just you talk to your dog. So like maybe if they're not. And this is just completely out of the blue, but maybe if they're not like really wanting to talk to the clinician necessarily, if they'll sit there and like talk to the dog. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? Yeah. See, that's what I feel like they could do. Like you just sit there and talk to the dog. Like, hey dog, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And then like the clinician is listening, but
Right.
Yeah. But the dogs listen amazingly.
Y'all are going to think I'm crazy. Sign me up for the next session.
If you I wouldn't have thought you were crazy unless you were like, and then the dog gave me some great advice.
The dog talked
I would have been a little worried.
I love it.
Yeah. But I just thought, I know I used to do that. Like you just get mad. You just go say things to your dog because, the dog wasn't going to talk back to you. So,
Right.
just listen.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask one other question. Y'all are opening in Bedford. Why did y'all pick Bedford as your next location to open in?
Picking Bedford was similar to why we're in Farmville, because a lot of people are like, well, why did you go all the way up to Farmville? Like, that's just a small little town. And that's kind of the real reason, is because we've had people reach out to us and say, hey, are you ever going to open something out here? Like, we really need it. And so then we do our research and, to see essentially what the market looks like out there.
Right.
Like for instance, with Farmville, it's, they started getting certain businesses in the area. And I know that those certain businesses require a median income for them to be able to support those businesses. And that's when they come to the area. And so seeing that happen in Farmville, I'm like, okay, well, this is actually a growing area and we have a growing need, so combine that, we put an office out there and it's done really, really well. So the same thing has been with Bedford. We've had numerous people reach out and just say, hey, there's just not a whole lot out here. I mean, there are some things, but there are a lot of times there's these small individual counseling practices of just one person. And a lot of times they only take maybe 10 people.
Right.
And so they just can't meet the need for what we can do. And so what we bring into the market as well is just a diverse group of people who have various types of skill sets, So we've probably got, there's probably about 10 clinicians that are out here in this Bedford office already. They come out here once a week. So, depending on the day. And so we have somebody out here every single day that can help out with that. So
do y'all have a potential opening date for Bedford?
We actually have to get with you on that.
Yes.
We've been wanting to.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
We've been wanting to. Well, we wanted to get the front painted.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we have a pretty picture,
I'm thinking June 14th.
No, I won't be here June 14th. We'll have to push it back.
Emergency.
It's an emergency.
But it's an emergency. Did you not check the email?
Well, I do have one June 21st, the Saturday I'm supposed to be coming back, but Megan's gonna take it, and I'm gonna try and get back in time. But
I got you.
Yeah, Claire's Kitchen is opening.
Okay.
On Old Farce Road.
Yeah.
Good food.
I've been watching the progress every time I drop by.
Yeah, seems. Yeah. Okay. So, So mental health, I think people view it in so many different ways. Like, what is y'all's kind of position on like mental health and how it impacts our area?
Well, I think with mental health, there was a huge stigma with mental health previously. And so a lot of people are afraid to engage in that, or they don't want to be to have it known that they go to counseling. Even our locations actually have a little bit of method to the madness of that. A lot of times, all our offices are closer to businesses as opposed to freestanding office. For instance, here in Bedford, we're right across the street from Bridge Street Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a lot of times people want to come, it helps them, kind of share that like, hey, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. And then they are able to go get their counseling for an hour. And, so a lot of people are a little worried about being able to try things like that. And we are open to those types of things. I think people, as far as where mental health has gone, I think the generation that's coming up through now is definitely more open to that, as opposed to my generation. Like I'm Gen X, where it's like you don't go to counseling, and type of thing. And so seeing the need grow with folks, I think it opens the door to other people, and we're seeing a lot more couples who are, in their 50s and 60s coming in for marriage work, for individual work, for I had I have this trauma happen, I had this thing happen in my life, and they don't even know that it's called a trauma.
Right.
And so and it's impacting their relationships. I mean, most of the work I do now is couples myself, and with that is pulling apart things that happened years back in their marriages and their relationship that caused a rupture, and has been a struggle for them, to in their marriage. And so a lot of times people don't want to share that kind of thing with friends and churches and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they have a space to do that. So I think the opening up of mental health has really kind of had the door kicked open in the last several years.
Yeah.
Especially with Simone Biles. That was a huge thing. I don't know if you guys know that, where she took a break from competing to say, I need to take care of myself. And what's amazing at that point, we had so many of the girls' gymnastic gyms in the area all start calling us and start coming in and start doing their own work on self. So as a stigma, I think it's moving away a lot more. Certain individuals, ages, populations still kind of struggle with that. But as a whole, it's moving in a direction where mental health is not just mean there's something wrong with you.
Right.
A lot of the work that we have for individuals coming in is just wanting to be better people and having a perspective that is unbiased to what they want. Because I think a lot of us have friends that will just tell us every idea we have is great because they just want to be nice.
Right.
But sometimes they're really stupid ideas.
Yeah.
And we need somebody to say, that's probably not the best idea.
Yeah. And so I started therapy in November, and I'm not ashamed of that at all. I tell people all the time, like,
I need to start some therapy.
Yeah, you do. It's changed. Sorry. It changed my life. Like, so my wife started earlier in the year that year, and she actually had trouble finding a therapist. So like, she ended up like going through and like calling all these places, and like she didn't get callbacks from some of them and things like that. And she's like, what if I was having like an emergency and needed like help immediately? Like, how would that look? And it got her so fired up that she actually went back to school and she's studying psychology. Right. So not sure where that's going to go, but like she's like, if I start now, I can figure it out later down the road. Right. So, and luckily we both found therapists that we really, really like. I really like that mine's over like Zoom, right? Because I am people think I'm busy. I'm not sure why. But like I'm always on the go and things like that. So being able to do it virtually means that I can do it literally from anywhere. Like I literally had an appointment, went back to my office, sat outside and did it in the car on my phone. Right. So that accessibility of being able to do that was like a key thing for me, but it has made such a difference. It's made me a better boss. It's made me a better husband, made me a better dad, made me a better grandpa, like all the things. It's just helped me so much. And it's not like there was like a crisis I was going through or anything like that. It's just dealing with everyday life and dealing with 45 employees and all of these things. Like the pressure just kind of builds on you. And now I have that outlet where some weeks it's just like we're catching up with what's going on in the week, and she's saying, what are you doing for yourself? And different things like that. That's where buying the book came from, for vacation and things like that. And like almost giving me permission, like, yes, you can relax and other people can handle work, other people can handle home, things like that. It's just that kind of like, she's not telling me anything that is like a shocking revelation to me, but she's giving me permission to work on accepting that for me and not just going, if I don't do this, everything's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
I love how you look at me when you say that.
I mean,
Note it.
we're a lot alike.
We are a lot
saying.
alike. I mean, I've said consistently, I need to get myself in there, but I don't have time. That's the problem. I need to make the time because it's like between
finding a way to do it virtual.
Yeah, because I mean, I've had a lot like with my parents going on. I'm taking care of two parents. My brother passed away 5 years ago, and I don't think I've ever really like that's a whole separate issue on top of, kids and family
and just and so
stuff.
I will tell you one thing. So I'm gonna be a commercial for Heather today.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna look at her while I talk.
Cool.
So one of the things that it's helped me with is like we've talked about, like sometimes I go into my office and I just have so many things to do. Like, where do I start? All right. So we have the towel theory. The towel theory is something that just like popped in my head one day because folding clothes is therapeutic for me. Like it just, I don't have to think. There's no consequence if I get it wrong. My job is very stressful. So it gives me like instant gratification instead of like I take care of a family for 10 years and then like, thanks, you did a great job. Right. So if I feel like I can't get going on a task, like folding laundry, I'll be like, well, let me just fold like 4 towels. Right. So I got like 4 days worth of towels in the cabinet. Right. Once you start, like you just build up momentum and you go. And I've started taking that same mentality with my to-do list at work. And it's made me more productive to where I'm not on the go all the time I'm not playing catch up with things that are like the deadlines tomorrow. Right now I'm like, all right, let me do this thing that has a deadline like 4 days out. And then let me do this thing that's like a month out. Right. So then eventually I end up with less things that are right at the deadline. Right. Because it's the towel theory. If I just start going and just start, even if I tackle the easy things, my day always starts with easy tasks. Because if I have something challenging at the beginning, it might not even be a hard task, but if mentally I have a hard time going, let me get into this because it's going to be hard. It's not. It's just, I've got that barrier of like, I don't want to do it. A lot of that is the ADHD, right? Diagnosed at 43. So if you have trouble and you feel like you're, people joke you have ADHD, go get tested. Because let me tell you, the first day I started taking medicine changed my life.
I need to do that too.
Yeah. So it's been a big thing of, first I was working through some personal things and like trying to figure out how to handle those things. And now like we're working on like basically like professional development. Like how can I get my headspace in the right place so that I can get my work done. Right. And in a timely manner. So I'm not at the office until 7, 8 o'clock at night. So.
Can I just...
What is happening? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Can I just say that I sincerely appreciate you both sharing those pieces of the story that you have, because that's where kind of relationships need to start with people in general. Is that we just don't typically do those things, or and to be able to share of like, hey, I'm actually going, honestly as a male, there's still a stereotype with that.
There is.
Making an assumption. I mean, maybe you're from the same thing as me. I'm be 46 soon, but we're from the generation of just rub some dirt on it, get going, and if you cry, you get made fun of.
Right. And so I was originally born in England, so I was raised by British people, and like British people famously push feelings down. Right. So I got like the double whammy. So, and then being raised in church as well, a lot of times it's like, well, we don't talk about those problems, right? We just pray about it and it goes away. That's not true. Well, you can pray about it and make you feel better, but like you really need to work on those problems. Action without faith is dead. So our faith without action is dead. So you can't just pray about it. You've got to do work on it. And I believe God put therapists on earth to help us work through those problems because we can't do it alone. So yeah, I tell everybody like, oh yeah, Monday at 3 o'clock, you can't reach me because I'm in therapy. Yeah. Right. And it took me a while. It took me about a month to put that on my work calendar.
That's why you deny me every Monday at 3.
So that my office staff knew that I was in therapy. Like, so my mom works in the office with me. And so it was hard to broach that, like, hey, I'm doing therapy. So like, I didn't put it on my calendar. I just put like Mike out, right? Now it says therapy, 3 p.m. every Monday. So like you said, the stigma, like it kind of takes that, even the people close to you. And like, so I had somebody so we've got a staff member on vacation that usually stays until 5 o'clock with me. Right. So she wasn't going to be there. So someone in my office stepped up and stayed until 4 o'clock because they knew I had therapy, and I can't answer I could, but that's the time that I need to not answer the phone. So she actually stayed till 4 o'clock on Monday, and like, it was a huge help. And so feeling that even that minor little bit of support, like, hey, I'm going to stay an hour and a half over just to help cover the phones and stuff. Like it was reaffirming to be like, yes, this is good. And people support it. So it wasn't easy to start telling people that I was in therapy, but now like pops right out.
I would imagine that just that action has nurtured that thought for other people to say, if my boss can go do that, then I should probably go do that too.
Right.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just that I'm the oldest in my family. So I tend to shoulder all the things.
Which is all the more reason you need to do it.
So like, my parents have gone through, a whole lot in the past, 3 months, I would say. Yeah. They've both like degraded, and I'm consistently, my mother's had multiple sclerosis for 30 years. So she hasn't, been the best, but it's gotten significantly worse. And I'm probably over there at least every day, if not every other day, taking, doing something. Like I literally came here. I left this morning, had to go do a teledoc thing with my dad, drive all the way here, so it's kind of like I'm trying to shift all the things. And, even when my brother passed away 5 years ago, I feel like I didn't really have time to grieve because I took over everything. I handled because it wasn't like something we were expecting. It was very unexpected. It was, so I had to handle all the arrangements. I had to make sure my parents were okay, and all the things. And so it's just kind of like, I just keep pushing forward. Right. I keep pushing forward. I don't know. Eventually, y'all will just find me curled up in a ball somewhere in a corner. Think about Woody's office over here.
Think about how much time extra you spend with your parents every week. Just help them get through things and things like that. And if you can give that to them, then why can't you give yourself an hour?
Yeah. Well, because I've got all this other stuff to do. I know. I try. I mean, I watch TV at night and hang out. Just watching TV.
You've got to look at it too, like an investment in yourself, right? Yeah. Because,
like I've gone and gotten a pedicure.
Right.
I mean, it's cool.
So if you went and got a pedicure.
Yeah, it was good.
Then you had time to book therapy an hour a week.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like therapy. Okay, I got you.
Yep, an hour a week.
I thought you were just talking about taking time for myself. I do that sometimes.
You don't have time to look into that. Like you do because you're worth investing in, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one of you, thank goodness. But you've got to make sure you take care of that. So I couldn't be all kind. Right. It's not in my nature.
Yeah. No. So. Well, and I mean, awesome. Now that y'all are in Bedford, I may have to hook it up because I live here. So
we're almost like right across the street.
Makes sense.
I'm thinking like Wednesdays at 2:00. That's perfect.
Like as soon as I leave here, just boom, go over there.
One of the things I've experienced. Now, I shared that with men. Me working with women as well. I think one of the things that's very common is, women are not just the women; they are wives and mothers and children of aging parents, and having jobs. And so, when we say where's the priority for yourself on that list, it's always gets clicked down the list and it gets down to the end. And then it's like, well, there's just no time.
That's actually one of the reasons, like we just held our 7th annual Empower Women's Conference. We just held that a couple weeks ago. And that's one of the reasons I started that conference was because I felt like there were so many women, business women in our area or leaders, or, I mean, even stay-at-home moms, no matter what you're doing. I felt like there were just so many of us that you're exactly right. We're juggling all these different balls in the air, whether it's being a wife or being a mother or being a daughter that's taking care of parents or, being a manager or whatever you're doing. And we tend to try and keep all of them up in the air. And it gets crazy. Yeah, so we wanted to have that conference where we could talk to each other and be like, hey, there are other options. There's support. There's, stuff like that.
And in my industry, we talk a lot about the sandwich generation, right? So you've got people who are caring for aging parents, which is where we come in because we do in-home senior care, things like that. So we help a lot of the sandwich generation out because they're still trying to balance daycare, work, family, and aging parents, right? In different degrees, all the way from mom or dad has moved in with them to they are managing them in a facility to they are managing them in a home alone where they really can't stay by themselves. So it's constant, like, I've got to go fix dad dinner, right? Because dad never learned how to cook. So, or I've got to go clean their house and take them to doctor's appointments, things like that. And so we deal with a lot of clients that they're part of that sandwich generation, right? So, and you are 100% in the sandwich generation.
Yeah.
Right. So, but sometimes you just got to cut yourself a break. So I'm going to cut you in right now. We're going to go to commercial.
Awesome. We are going to have a quick commercial. We'll be right back.
Thinking about upgrading your home? Hello, I'm Philip Pantana. Whether you want a modern kitchen, a stunning bathroom, a sturdy deck, or even a brand new addition, our company, Perimeter Remodeling and Restoration, can make it happen. From quick interior repairs to full-scale renovations, homeowners trust us for expert craftsmanship and excellent service, always delivered with the care you deserve. Schedule your free consultation now at perimeterva.com. Call or text 434-515-2868.
One thing protects it all, your roof. And when you've got a new one, you're set for decades. I'm Andrew Lee. Our company, Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors, is trusted by homeowners and businesses for all roofing and exterior projects. Shingles, metal, slate, gutters, windows, siding, decks, and more. Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors is your go-to for all protection and efficiency. Get your free no-hassle inspection today. Call or text 434-515-2868. Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors, protecting from the top down.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Omega Disaster Restoration, located in Campbell County, Virginia. Omega specializes in water, fire, and smoke damage restoration, as well as mold remediation. Their region includes Central and Southwest Virginia, which spans a vast service area from Blacksburg to Charlottesville and Stanton to Danville.
In addition to disaster restoration and full-service reconstruction and remodeling, Omega is proud to offer custom all-wood cabinets through their Hanover Woodworking Studio, custom countertops via their Top Solution Studio, and dumpster services through Old Dominion Dumpsters, all part of the Omega family of brands. A beautiful showroom is currently under construction at their Exchange Drive location and will be soon open to the public, showcasing their diverse offerings.
Customers can call 434-616-4659 for emergency assistance with water, fire, smoke damage, or mold remediation needs. Omega provides 24/7 emergency response, ensuring that help is always available. Locally owned and not a franchise, Omega is your first and last call in any emergency, restoring your home or business from beginning to end. For more information about Omega Disaster Restoration and their comprehensive services, please visit omegadisasterrestoration.com/VA/Lynchburg. That was an amazing commercial.
Do you like that?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So, thank you to our sponsors, Omega Disaster Restoration and Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors. If you're interested in being a sponsor of Talk Local to Me and having your commercial on each and every episode, please contact us. It's only $100 for a month. Which is the train approves. They're excited about it. But you get your commercial. You can do host read like you just heard us do for Omega Disaster Restoration,
right.
Or you can come in here with Woody and do your own commercial.
Yeah.
And it'll play every single episode, not just live, but anytime somebody downloads and listens to our podcast, whether it's, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcast, they are going to hear your commercial. $100 a month. Awesome deal.
It's not bad.
Contact us today if you would like to.
And you can join the ranks of the OG sponsors.
Right, the OG.
With Woody's favorite song.
That's right.
So we are, if you're just joining us, we are here in the studio with Mike and Tara with Kairos Counseling.
The dog's name is Kai. His middle name is Rose.
Yes.
That's
Kairos.
Totally
there
in my
you
head.
go.
Kairos.
You got it.
There you go. Now, see, thank you. There we go. And, we've been kind of talking about a little bit of everything, ADHD, mental health. I want to touch on, though, this month is PTSD Awareness Month. And so, first of all, I know PTSD can come in so many different forms. I think people think it has to be like this crazy traumatic, but it doesn't have to be that. So kind of what is kind of PTSD awareness? What does that look like?
Well, this month they've designated it as PTSD Awareness Month. And one of the reasons why it's so close to us to promote that awareness is we do have a couple veterans that work for us. And so for them, that's very near and dear, not just necessarily for themselves, but for their friends, the people they've served with. And so for them, it's a big part of who they are to be able to advocate for that. The other part of it is that we do so much with trauma. We have an amazing group of people who are trained in EMDR and focus on trauma and grief specifically. And so, for them, it's like their caseload is heavy with that. And they're so passionate about helping those individuals, and like you said, trauma is not necessarily just, I think historically we always thought PTSD is what happens to Vietnam vets. Like that's where we kind of first started hearing about it. And that was what we would kind of look at as just somebody, a lot of times homeless vets on the sidewalk screaming and yelling things. And it's like, well, that's not me. I don't have that. But now there's, a lot more to it than just something of a very violent nature. Experiences, interactions with people sometimes can cause this, and I think a lot of people are being aware of just not knowing that they've had a lifetime of that, maybe by their own parents, by relationships, interactions with people, that, it's more than just that war, type of soldier, who's experienced that,
I think I've seen a lot of, like, you hear about people that go, oh, I've had all these issues and I didn't even realize it was PTSD. There was something kind of deep down that you're
Right.
kind of holding in, or you just don't realize it affected you, I guess, as much as it did. And it could be something small, but very significant in your life. That, yeah, I think you're right, though. A lot of people contribute it to something massive, like your war or trauma, or like, things like that. So
we get a lot of it through that we see now as misdiagnosis of ADHD, which is another reason why we really put that out there. Because if you think about that, when, with kids, a lot of times they're not paying attention in class, and that's what kind of has driven that ADHD diagnosis of they're not focused. But what's really happening is what's happening at home that is now playing through their minds while they're at school. So it's not that they're not focused on the work because they have ADHD. It's because they're having, reoccurring trauma or traumatic thoughts that's sitting with them in their classrooms, and they're not focused on what they're supposed to do, which gets them behind academically. And then, a lot of times when you're behind academically, it causes behavioral problems, which thus looks like ADHD. So we have a lot of people who are misdiagnosed with that. It's actually a traumatic experiences they've, experienced, whether, it's directly to them, like sexual abuse, physical, verbal abuse, or watching that happen to their parents or somebody else in their home. So we find that a lot when we really do the extra steps to dig, which is why, we have more supervisors and more direct care to all of our clinicians, and collaboratively work together to figure out these types of things, as opposed to just sole clinicians out on their own without thinking about those things. So that's why the ADHD part and the trauma part that we work with is so essential with just wellness for people. It falls under a lot of things with them.
That's good to know. I can see that. Like, I wouldn't have really, until you said it, I wouldn't have really thought that, but I can see it now that you kind of touched on it. So, we, I think, as a community, need to do better about talking about mental health. Kind of like you were just saying, like, us sitting here talking about it. And I know, we're not just going to go out there and be like, hey, everybody, go get, go see a therapist, things like that. But what are some ways that you would encourage people to, like, reach, if there's somebody struggling, like, for instance, like, if I know there's somebody in my life that really needs to go, what are ways that you guys could encourage? Like, do you have like I'm trying to say, is there a way, like, you can encourage someone to go? Does that make sense?
Go to therapy?
Yeah. I know you've been trying to do it to me over here, so you've been doing a pretty good job.
Well, I've just been blatantly telling you.
Yeah, but I feel like there's sometimes you have to kind of ease somebody into it in a way, or. So
I'm going to weigh on that real quick, because I'm going to give a real life example. Hopefully my mom's not listening today. If you are, Mom, stop listening. So my mom is of the generation that, like, it would be hard for her to go to a therapist, right? But we have chairman of the board for Love Heals. Good to give them a shout out. And we had coffee for caregivers at my office this morning, and she started going to that. One, because she works at the office, it's right there, it's nice and easy. But that support group, it's for caregivers. Anybody who is a caregiver, has been a caregiver, things like that. So we lost my dad in January, and she really wasn't able to go until after he passed away. Well, it has been such a great thing for her to be able to talk about her experiences and get support. And she's, they've got a text chain that they encourage people through, and they pray for each other, things like that. So having that support group is like the first step. It's like therapy. If you remember Shareware, like therapy light, right? So having someone that you can talk to and just kind of get those feelings out. And it's kind of a safe space because I don't go to those, and I don't go to them on purpose, because it lets her talk and she doesn't have to worry about, wow, I don't want to say this in front of Mike kind of thing, right? Or I don't want to show any weakness. I think that's a lot of people's issue with therapy is they're like, well, if I go to therapy, I'm weak. No.
Yeah.
No, because if anything that you may think is a weakness, like, it's really just a strength waiting to be released, right? It's, saying that sharing my feelings makes me weak. Well, if you learn to share your feelings better, it's going to make you a better person. It's going to make you a better communicator. It's going to make you a better boss, husband, wife, son, daughter, all of those things, right? So finding a support group like that doesn't feel like it's therapy and just for you. Sometimes a group setting like that can make it easier to take the step to go and seek therapy. Am I right or wrong?
You're absolutely right.
Okay,
Thank you
good.
for that.
I'm not the expert in the room, but
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
that has been a huge thing for us, like being able to get her to that group just kind of fell in our lap because now it's hosted at our office. Like it's great for her to be able to go to that and get that support.
Well, when you have people, around you who are encouraging it as opposed to like demanding it,
Right.
It's a big difference because they feel supported in going in that decision, and then they don't feel as embarrassed about doing
Mm-hmm.
it, And I think even on a small scale, when we live in the South, and so it's very common to be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Right? That's how you talk. How you doing? Great. How you doing? Great. Well, that is typically not the right answer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
For most of us. So on a small scale, how do you even start with something like that about encouraging people to talk? Is to ask somebody how they're doing, but make space to ask for them to really answer that question. Just say how have you been? How's your health? How's your life been? Just not how you're doing, and make sure you have the room to listen, because
Right.
a lot of times we don't have the time to listen.
We ask, but we really don't want to hear.
It's like, I didn't really want you to answer that.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like
Yes,
we
you
ask
can
to be
ask me.
polite. Like, how are you doing? Oh, great. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Right.
You just want them to say, "Oh, I'm good." Okay,
Yeah.
good to go. Yeah, I get that. So I'm going to ask Tara. What do you?
Told you we were coming to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you enjoy most about working at Kairos?
no.
You don't have to make it all about.
What did you tell me is like the required response for any time anyone asks me this question? Got the best boss? No. Honestly, I have worked for several companies, obviously. And they all have missions and vision state, I can genuinely say that Kairos cares. And I have a really big heart. So I've always been one to like go the extra mile and just give things my all. And it's really, really nice to finally work for a company that goes that extra mile with me. And it's not just like me doing it all alone. It's to work for a company that just genuinely cares
Mm-hmm.
is something that like I've been searching for so long. It's, and not only that, it's like we're a family.
Mm-hmm.
It truly is a home away from home. And it's just a great feeling. So I would have to say that.
So you're saying like Sunday night when you're getting ready for the work week, you're not like, oh, I don't want to have to go.
I'm telling you what, I have honestly, there hasn't been one day where I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to go to work. Like there's some days where I'm there late and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm still here. Like it's,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm at work when I'm at work. And it's amazing. It really is.
It's good.
Awesome.
I like it.
I do too. I'm like that sometimes.
Must be something about bosses named Mike that are awesome.
That was a way better answer than I was encouraging you.
Right.
Yeah.
You gave her like a $5 answer. She gave a $7 answer.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we bought some Sonic tots on the way.
Oh,
over
is that
go.
what it is?
Oh, there you go.
Stats.
Just trying
Shout
to
out
buy her
Sonic.
off.
Sonic. That's
Must
the
be
best
the
part. That's the part about coming to Bedford. We got
Oh,
a Sonic.
That's the
Sonic.
biggest thing.
Sonic, if you're listening and you want to sponsor the show,
Yes.
must be the tots will be our catchphrase.
And for
I'm
the
saying.
love, can you please get the unicorn dream slush stuff back in stock? Because I've gone 6 times with my daughter because she wants one and they just haven't had it. And I need it. I need you to have it so that she'll stop making me go through the Sonic drive-thru.
Our girls at our office, they've already hit me up because they know I'm out.
Oh my
here. And they
goodness.
say, what is it?
Dirty Dr. Pepper.
Dirty Dr.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, from Taco Bell?
Is it-
or is it
from
no,
Sonic?
Sonic?
From Sonic.
Yeah, they're like, can you bring us Dirty Dr. Peppers back?
What is a dirty Dr. Pepper?
It's like it sounds gross
disgusting.
to me. Yeah,
Is it the pickles?
Dr. Pepper with some kind
No.
of like
Cream?
it's like milk in it.
Yes.
So
And
Taco
lime
Bell has
juice?
Dirty Baja Blast.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
And I've just recently, my daughter's been asking for the Dirty Baja Blast, and it's a Baja Blast with the cream. It's some kind of cream inside of it.
My mind has been blown
Diabolical.
today.
It should
Did not
not
know
be
that was
allowed.
a thing.
I'm
It
not gonna lie,
shouldn't
it's
be
pretty good.
who thought to put cream in soda?
Yeah.
Not me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Unheard of.
So,
Mm.
but I haven't had a Dirty Dr. Pepper. I've tried the Dirty Baja Blast.
Yeah, was that good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. And the weird thing is I don't like Baja Blast, but with the cream, it was
It
good.
definitely changes it. I'm
It
sure.
does. It does. It was good.
Mm.
So yeah, people come up with the craziest stuff, and we just buy into it. Let's try it. We don't care. See what it tastes like.
Well, some stuff. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, I got to really think about if I want to put that in my body. That'd be a rough
That's true.
night.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. Well, I'm gonna turn it over to Mike and his question.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
You haven't been here for a while, so
I know, right? So we ask every guest that comes on the podcast 2 questions. One is, how long have you been part of the Central Virginia Business Coalition?
Well, we're newer members, so I think it's about a year.
Yep, right at a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And what do you think is the greatest benefit of being part of the CVABC?
I think that networking is, networking for new ideas and new, just like-minded people who are also seeking to grow. For me, that's what I've enjoyed the most.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the networking for sure.
Yeah.
Just being around other business owners and like-minded people for sure.
It's great. I've found a lot of friends through CVABC and a lot of reconnections because I went to high school with a few people that are in CVABC. And, so that's kind of weird. Like as an adult, like look at us, we're functioning adults now. Like who knew? So, but yeah, it's a great group of people, and there's always somebody who sometimes accidentally gives me advice, and they say something. So, had one person that said, one time, if I ever say yes to something, I've got to figure out what I'm giving up to do that. Right. And I go by that all the time. Right. So it's, but it's just a great group of people and a great group of individuals.
I'd like to say too, that it's great to see this organization has its stuff together. As as kind of crazy as that may sound, I've been president of a lot of organizations with counseling, and all the way up to state level, and so like to see so much happening and so much communication and just the consistency there. I know what it takes to run something like that. And so to see that functioning that way, there's either somebody working really hard to do everything, or there's a lot of or there's a big group of people, maybe have a great support staff. I don't know. So, but it really is to see, that turnout with people, the commitment for people, and just, it's not the same old thing over and over again.
Right.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm really excited that you guys are open in Bedford, because I'm going to chat with you guys once y'all are open and running and see if there's a possibility. Our coffee talks that we host during the week, we are contemplating, I do one in the Roanoke area, and I'm actually contemplating scaling that one back because we don't have as much participation at that one, just because I think there are so many chambers and things out that way. But we've had a couple of people ask maybe if we shifted, because we do one in Alta and one in Appomattox, maybe doing one a month in Bedford, or every other month in Bedford, every other month in Roanoke, like swap it out so that the Roanoke people can still come. Bedford's not too far away.
Right.
The lake, same difference. So I'm kind of contemplating doing a Bedford Roanoke swap every month, but I'm looking for businesses that would host us here in Bedford. So I got Woody on the list.
Only if the therapy dog.
Okay.
Only
Yeah.
the therapy dog?
Yeah.
We can make that happen.
I already know I've got the Blue Lady. He's already told me he would do it whenever I need it. The Bauer Center usually jumps in, so I got peeps, but it would be great to have you guys once y'all are up and running. And, on a day y'all maybe don't have like heavy clients, because we're usually there from 8 to 9 or 9:30. So, it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all for joining us today. It's been very informative. I think it's been a really great episode. I greatly appreciate having you guys. If you are listening and you want to find out more about Kairos Counseling, you can find their information on our website, along with any of the events that we've talked about, our upcoming coffee talks. If you're interested in signing up for Centerfest, Bedford Centerfest applications are open. So you're going to want to get your booth in. If you're interested in sponsorship, we're also open to that as well. Get with me so we can get you all signed up. And hopefully we'll have Christmas parade information in the next month.
How long does this music go?
As long as I
we should
talk
push it,
there, buddy.
Yeah, we'll have a parade thing by next week.
It'll be really cool. But yeah, if you're interested in any of that information, you can find that at
cvabc.org. Have a great week. Take care of yourself. We'll see you next Wednesday.